They trained you to teach. But nobody trained you to survive. Not the pressure, not the noise, not the silent expectations crushing you daily. If teaching has ever felt heavier than you expected, stay here. This is not motivation. This is survival training. Welcome to today's session. This is where we separate trained teachers from surviving teachers. Because knowing your subject is one thing. Controlling a classroom, your energy, and your sanity daily. That's a completely different game most were never prepared for. They handed you curriculum and expected control. They gave you lesson plans, but never showed you how to manage chaos. And slowly, you realized something uncomfortable. Teaching isn't hard because of content. It's hard because of everything around the content. Noise is not just sound. It's distraction, disengagement, side conversations, emotional leakage, and broken focus. If you don't control noise, noise controls your classroom experience. And most teachers lose the battle here without even realizing it. Survival starts when you stop reacting and start designing. Strong teachers don't shout louder. They build systems that students respond to automatically. Signals, patterns, expectations. When done right, your presence alone begins to control the room. There are always two versions of you in the classroom. The reactive teacher, who is constantly putting out fires, and the structured teacher, who prevents fires before they start. Your survival depends on which version shows up consistently. Rules are not punishment. They are protection. They protect your time, your energy, and your authority. The mistake most teachers make is assuming students will behave. No. Students respond to structure, not assumptions. Every classroom runs on 3 pillars: attention, respect, and flow. If one breaks, everything suffers. Master all 3, and your classroom becomes controlled, predictable, and far less exhausting to manage daily. Students are constantly deciding, should I listen or should I drift? If you don't influence that decision intentionally, distraction wins by default. Teaching is not just delivery. It's influencing attention at every single moment. Engagement is engineered. Questions, pacing, curiosity. These are your tools. The more mentally active your students are, the less discipline becomes a problem. Silence alone is not control. Active attention is. Your class begins before your lesson. The first 5 minutes shape everything that follows. If entry is chaotic, your entire session will fight uphill. Structure starts at the door, not at the board. Seating is not random. It's strategic. Where students sit determines how they behave. Control proximity, reduce distractions, and suddenly behavior improves without shouting. Environment shapes discipline more than words ever will. Time awareness is power. When students know what is expected and how long they have, confusion drops. Idle time creates noise. Structured time creates flow. The difference is massive. Pause is a weapon. When used correctly, silence pulls attention. Most teachers fill every second with noise. Strong teachers use silence to reset the room and reclaim control without saying a word. Signals beat shouting. A simple hand sign, a countdown, a consistent cue. Repeat it daily, and it becomes automatic. Students respond faster to patterns than instructions. Train the pattern, and control becomes effortless. Your energy teaches more than your lesson. If you are tense, the room becomes tense. If you are calm and structured, the room follows. Control your internal state first, because students mirror what they feel from you. Overcomplicated lessons create confusion. Confusion creates noise. Simplicity creates clarity. Clarity creates control. If your lesson is easy to follow, your classroom becomes easier to manage. Visual structure matters. When your board is organized, your teaching feels organized. Students don't just listen, they follow patterns visually. Clarity on the board becomes clarity in their behavior. Questions activate the brain. Lecturing puts it to sleep. If students are not thinking, they are drifting. The more you ask, the more they engage. Engagement reduces distraction naturally. Watch everything. Strong teachers are constantly scanning who is engaged, who is drifting, who needs redirection. Awareness is control. If you don't see it early, you'll fight it later. Transitions are where most classrooms lose control. Moving from one activity to another without structure creates instant noise. Strong teachers don't hope transitions go well, they design them. Clear instructions, timed movement, and consistent routines turn chaos into smooth flow. Never assume students understand what to do next. Confusion breeds noise. Clarity builds control. Break instructions into simple, visible steps. When students know exactly what comes next, hesitation disappears, and with it, distraction. Recognition is powerful. What you notice grows. When you highlight focus, effort, and discipline, you train the class on what matters. Ignore good behavior, and you accidentally reward distraction. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Emotional reactions cost you authority. The moment you get pulled into frustration, students gain control. Strong teachers stay neutral, consistent, and measured. Not because they don't feel, but because they understand control comes from stability. Students will test limits, not to disrespect you, but to understand where the boundaries are. If your limits shift daily, respect disappears. If your limits stay firm and predictable, behavior adjusts naturally. Structure reduces stress, for you and for them. When everything has a place, tasks, routines, expectations, mental load drops. Disorder creates pressure. Order creates control, and control keeps you from burning out. Every lesson needs a visible path, beginning, middle, end. When students can see where they are and where they're going, they stay grounded. Without direction, they drift. And drift always turns into distraction. Eliminate distractions early. The longer you ignore small disruptions, the bigger they become. Early correction is easier and far less exhausting than fixing full chaos later. Presence matters. How you stand, move, and observe communicates authority before you speak. Weak presence invites testing. Strong presence creates alignment. Define focus clearly. When students know when to listen, think, or speak, transitions become smoother. Without clarity, confusion grows, and confusion becomes noise. Burnout doesn't come from teaching alone. It comes from carrying everything manually. Systems remove that weight. When structure does the work, your energy returns. Boundaries protect your energy. Not everything needs immediate attention. Decide what matters, and let systems handle the rest. Simplify your workflow. Too many moving parts create mental fatigue. Group tasks, repeat systems, automate what you can. Survival is not doing more, it's doing less better. Patterns reveal everything: who disrupts, when, and why. When you understand patterns, you stop reacting randomly and begin anticipating. Low expectations create low performance. Structured expectations create growth. Be clear, be firm, be consistent. Students rise to what is repeatedly expected. Repetition builds behavior. What you repeat becomes normal. If chaos is repeated, chaos becomes culture. If structure is repeated, structure becomes standard. Start strong. The first minutes define the lesson. Start weak, and you spend the rest recovering. Start strong, and control carries forward. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to be loud, you need to be steady. Students trust patterns, not bursts of energy. You don't fight noise, you reduce it step by step. Small structured wins build powerful classrooms. This is where survival shifts into mastery. When systems hold and your classroom responds predictably, you stop reacting and start leading. Not every disruption needs reaction, some need redirection. The more attention you give disruption, the more it grows. Redirect and move on. Redirection is a quiet power move. Small actions correct behavior without breaking flow. Consequences must be predictable, not emotional. Students should know what happens next. Emotional distance protects your authority. Stability builds respect. Your classroom should feel stable even when students bring chaos. Expectation without enforcement disappears. Consistency gives your words weight. Behavior repeats when it works. Always check what you are rewarding. Every classroom needs a reset signal. Practice it daily. Proximity reduces distraction. Move intentionally. Be firm, but fair. Fairness builds respect. You grow from managing to leading through structure. Great classrooms are built, not improvised. You don't eliminate chaos, you outstructure it. Routine creates comfort and reduces resistance. Flow is the ultimate goal. Everything connects smoothly. Not everything needs your attention. Focus on what matters. Reinforce what works. Positive patterns grow faster. Not every mistake deserves reaction. Control removes power from disruption. Alignment reduces friction. Unity creates momentum. This is where systems take over. Real control is quiet. Presence replaces noise. Small signals become powerful triggers over time. Movement reinforces authority. Your voice must be controlled, not loud. Confidence is built through structure. Correct quietly when possible. Growth is long-term, not instant. Systems must evolve as you improve. Look at your transformation. This is built, not luck. You are now leading a system, not just teaching. Break out of survival mode. Step into control. Your future classroom is being designed daily. You were trained to teach, but now you can survive and lead. If this changed how you see your classroom, subscribe, share this with a teacher, and comment your biggest struggle. Let's solve it together.